All right, 717. This week the question comes from Jacob's life, where Jacob acquires a couple of wives and a couple of additional ladies that become, as it were, wives to him. Has children with all of them. And the question is, is polygamy in the Bible endorsed by God? Is this okay? And what is the implications for that in terms of historical issues like Mormonism? And so let's deal with them in order. The first question is polygamy endorsed by God? And the answer is nowhere in the Bible does God say that polygamy is okay. We also don't have anywhere in the Bible where polygamy is explicitly rejected. So that creates a little bit of challenge. We do know that in the Bible, though, many cases where polygamy is on display, that trouble happens. You see it in Jacob's life. There's a lot of trouble that results in the fact that he goes outside the bounds of God's edict in Genesis chapters 1 and 2 and 3 even, where he says there will be one man, one woman, the two will become one flesh. You see trouble with Jacob. You see trouble with Gideon. Remember Gideon and his 70 sons, and we have the little footnote in there. He had more than one wife, which I would have concluded anyway, given that he had 70 sons, that was not all from one wife. But it results in enormous trouble for Gideon and for the next generation of kids. We also see polygamy in the life of David and in the life of King Solomon, especially, resulting in enormous trouble for them. So the Bible doesn't explicitly prohibit it, but it does give example after example where polygamy is trouble. Now, I do think in the New Testament you get a little more statements about it, where Jesus again reiterates the Genesis account, one man, one woman for life, and that's even refuting someone getting divorced and remarried, not let alone taking multiple wives. So I think Jesus would say what's best is for one man, one woman for life. This is, again, all of these things. There's a lot of things that are best for us. They don't always work out that way in life, and so there's mercy and forgiveness and restoration. But generally speaking, the best model is one man, one woman for life. Jesus endorses that. Paul warns in Timothy, says that deacons should be the husband of one wife, and many have speculated where Paul is saying, hey, if you got someone who's got more than one wife within the congregation, that's fine. They're good believers, but I wouldn't put them in a leadership role because that might cause trouble. So I do think the New Testament does maybe deal a little more with the issue of polygamy than the direct statements from the Old Testament. But needless to say, within the New Testament context, the best thing is one man, one woman for life. And this is what Jesus endorses when people ask him about that. He says, let a man leave his father and mother, a woman leave her father and mother, the two of them be united and become one flesh. And it's really hard to see the one flesh worked out if there's one man and 3 wives, or one man and 5 wives, or something like that. I think that principle, that underlying principle of marriage and family, gets violated there. So be that as it may, I think polygamy is not part of God's initial design. I think at times it became a place of rescue, as women would have husbands die in ancient cultures, and protection for them at times would be to attach themselves to a man who already had a wife. I see this in modern times in Sudan. I also see it in areas around Nagaland and places like Arunachal Pradesh and Bhutan, where people have more than one wife, even within the church. But in those cases, many times is where husbands, men taking a wife on whose brother died, leaving his widow, and this was a way of protecting them from destitution, poverty, starvation. And so you can see sometimes in history where it's been a protective thing for women in tough situations. But generally speaking, I think the Bible endorses one man, one woman for life. If you get married, if you can, please, try to stay married if that's at all possible. And if not, I would say we throw ourselves on the grace of God in all those situations, and then pick ourselves up again and try it again. And so in the case of Jacob, I would say maybe not the best choice, probably outside God's will, but then God extends grace to him by blessing him anyway in the midst of that. And so I think that's the best approach to polygamy. Is it's inconsistent with the Christian life, but that God will still even take the times when we aren't perfect and still bless them. All right, y'all have a good week. See you at 7:17.